Yes, welcome once again to another fantastic session. This is Santosh Sahu and you are watching Sahu's tutorial. I am conducting 1000 MCQ series for the upcoming UGC NET exam. In the previous 8 videos, I have discussed 400 questions along with explanation, and in this YouTube video, I will be covering another important 50 questions. So stay tuned with Sahu's tutorial and do not forget to subscribe my channel and watch the video till the end because it is going to be a very informative session. So I do not want to waste your time. Let's begin with question number 401. Here, David Malouf is an Australian poet and novelist. Uh, David Malouf's An Imaginary Life is a retelling of the story of which author? That is Aristotle, Juvenal. Your options are here: Ovid and Horace. So David Malouf is an Australian poet and novelist. His An Imaginary Life is a retelling of the story of Ovid. So it is the retelling of the Ovid's exile in Tomis. Exile in Tomis. So, and David Malouf has also written some writings like Remembering Babylon, Remembering, remem, Remembering, hmm, Remembering Babylon, Babylon, Remembering Babylon. Another work is that is Fly Away Peter, Fly Away, Fly Away Peter, Remembering Babylon, Fly Away Peter, and An Imaginary Life. These are the famous works written by David Malouf. Now look at this explanation here that it tells the story of the Roman poet Ovid during his exile in Tomis. While there, Ovid lives with the natives, although he doesn't understand their language and forms a bond with a wild boy which found living wild in nature. The relationship between Ovid and the boy, at first one of the protector and protected, becomes an alliance between two people in a foreign land. Next question, Cousin Brigade. Cousin Brigade, a character, a fictional character here, figures in the works of Charles Lamb, William Hazlitt, Jane Austen, Scott. So Cousin Brigade is actually the sister, that is Mary, Sister Mary, Sister Mary of Charles Lamb here. That is, so a character figures in the works of Charles Lamb, and that works were, that is Essays of Ilya. Essays of Ilya was published in the year 1823. The first volume was published in the year 1823, and the last Essays of Ilya, the second volume, was published after 10 years, that is 1833. And Ilya is actually the pseudonym of Charles Lamb, and he had used this pseudonym in his essay, that is South Sea House. Look at these explanations here. Okay, look at this explanation that Essays of Ilya is a collection of essays written by Charles Lamb, and it was first published in a book form in 1823, with the second volume, Last Essays of Ilya, that was published in the year 1833 by Edward Moxon. And Lamb itself is the Ilya of the collection, and his sister Mary is the Cousin Brigade. And Charles first used the pseudonym Ilya for an essay on the South Sea House. Next question, Journey to Ithaca. Journey to Ithaca is a novel written by Anita Desai, Kiran Desai, Anita Nair, Namita Gokhale. So Journey to Ithaca was written by Anita Desai. Anita Desai has written a Journey to Ithaca. Okay. Next question, which among the novels list below does not deal with the emergency in India? Okay, which among the novels listed below does not deal with the emergency in India? The great Indian novel, Midnight Children, Journey to Ithaca, A Fine Balance. So here, the great Indian novel was written by Shashi Tharoor, and the Midnight Children, you know, that is Salman Rushdie. Journey to Ithaca, there is Anita Desai, and Fine Balance is the Hinton Mystery. So here, the great Indian novel deals with emergency in India. Midnight Children also belongs to this category, that it belongs to emergency in India. Sorry. And A Fine Balance, that was written by Rohinton Mystery, that also, okay, deals with emergency in India. But Journey to Ithaca, that is done by Anita Desai, does not deal with the emergency in India. So here 3 is the right answer. Okay, next question, A Game of Chess is an allegory. Is an allegory a comedy, a romance? None of this. So here, Game of Chess is an allegory. These are one of the 5 parts of T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, that was published in the year 1922. The Wastelands. Game of Chess is the second part. Okay, now you have 406 question, that T.S. Eliot was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1947, 1948, 1949, 1950. So after our independence, that is 1 year after our independence, that is 1948. T.S. Eliot was awarded Nobel Prize for the Literature in the year 1948. Next question, Writer's Workshop is a Kolkata-based literary publisher founded by the Indian poet and scholar Purushottam Lal. That is, he is also known as P. Lal. So in his year 1958, 1968, 1959, 1969. So Writer's Workshop was in the year 1958 by Purushottam Lal. Next question, who among the following is not a Booker Prize winner? Okay, Kiran Desai, Arvind Adiga, Arundhati Roy, Anita Desai. So here that is Anita Desai is not a Booker Prize winner. Is not a Booker Prize winner. Kiran Desai has got the Booker Prize, that is for Inheritance of Loss, Inheritance of Loss, Inheritance of Loss, Inheritance of Loss. That is said in Gorkhaland movement, Gorkhaland movement, Gorkhaland, Gorkhaland movement. Now, Arvind Adiga's, that is a White Tiger, is also a Booker Prize winning novel. The White Tiger. Balram Halwai is the protagonist here. The White Tiger, and Arundhati Roy, that is the God of Small Things. Okay, and the God of Small Things, the God of Small Things, the God of Small Things. This is also a winner, Booker Prize winner, winning novel. So here Anita Desai does not get any Booker Prize for her work. So Anita Desai is the right answer here. Now question 409. It is the last line of which novel? It is far better thing that I do than I have ever done. It is a far better rest that I go to than I have ever known. A Tale of Two Cities, Hard Times, David Copperfield, Bleak House. So this is the last line. These are the last lines of the novel A Tale of Two Cities. It is a far better thing. So it's a historical novel. It's a historical novel. Historical novel written by Charles Dickens. Okay, which feminist literary theorist coined the term gynocriticism? Kate Millett, Mary Ellen, Simon de Beauvoir, Ellen Walter. So it was Ellen Walter coined the term, that is gynocriticism was coined by Ellen Walter. Next question, gynocriticism or gynocritics is the term coined in the 70s by Ellen Walter to describe a new literary project intended to construct a female framework for the analysis of women's literature. Next question, which poem begins the following lines? That's books and the man I sing. Books and the man I sing, the first who brings the Smithfield muses to the year of kings. Dunsed, Nesseman, Imitation of Horace, the Rape of the Lock. So here, the Dunsed is the right answer. Dunsed, these are the opening lines of the poem Dunsed. And the Rape of the Lock was published twice, 1712, 1714 and 1717. Okay, the Rape of the Block. Here, which novel of Jane Austen has been described as the best from literary point of view? So Northanger Abbey, Emma, Mansfield Park, Sense and Sensibility. So yeah, Jane Austen's novel, that is Emma, was considered as the best literary point of view. So here Emma is the right answer. Emma, that Jane Austen says that she is going to love that character when she was creating. Emma, that no one will like, but she will like. So that is Emma. Emma is the Emma Woodhouse. From which Greek word does the term comedy derive? And what does it mean? Comedial largeness of heart, commodia, revel song, jest song, and lightfully. So it has commedia, revel song. This is the right answer. B is the right answer here. Next question, the word comedy, look at this explanation, that the word comedy is derived from the classical Greek commedia, which is compound of komos, revel, and wait, singing. Next question, World Within World is an autobiography of Stephen Spender, W. Warden, Cecil Lewis, T.S. Eliot. So here Stephen Spender. To remember all these aspects, that Stephen Spender, his autobiography is World Within the World. So here he is one of the Max Pondy group. It's Mikula Boy is a novel written by Pratap Sharma, Ashok K. Banker, Mukul Kesavan, Kiran Nagarkar. So here Baikula Boy is a novel written by Ashok K. Banker is the right option here. Ashok K. Banker has written Baikula Boy. Sorry. Next question. The History of Henry VII. The History of Henry VII, a classical book on Elizabethan era, was written by Lamb, Bacon, Shakespeare, Charles Lamb. So it was written by Bacon. Bacon wrote the History of Henry VII is a classical book on Elizabethan literature. Now look at here. History of the Reign of King Henry VII is a 1622 work by the Francis Bacon. It charts the reign of the first Tudor monarch Henry VII, who took the throne from his rival Richard III in 1485. At the time of writing, Bacon had recently fallen from political power and completed the work in late 1621 and sent a copy to James I. Okay, the book remains his history. It remains his only completed works of history. At the request of Charles, Prince of Wales, he began work on a follow-up account of the reign of Henry VIII, but only completed a brief introduction. So here, what does Arnold scholarship deal with? About scholarship, about gifts, about the decay of youth and people. So here it is about the decay of youth and hope, and deals with scholar Gypsy. Which among the following is a non-fiction? A non-fiction by Amitabh Bose in an antique land. Jungle Nama, The Dog Dancer, Not Be Forgot. So these all three are the fictional, but non-fiction work is an antique land, that is the setting has Egypt. It is set in Egypt. So in an antique land is the right option here, which is are non-fiction by Amitabh Ghosh. This is in an antique land. Setting was Egypt. Try to remember all these aspects here. The reform movement of foreign language teaching came into existence. This is a foreign language teaching came into existence as a reaction to the traditional grammar translation method. So the reform movement was a kind of a reaction to the traditional grammar translation method in the 1880s and 90s. Identify the linguists who were the main proponents who contributed to the movement. Here, Stephen Krasner, Henry Sweet, Paul Passy. Paul Passy was there. Henry Sweet was there, but Stephen Krasner was not there. So here, Henry Sweet, Wilhelm Vater was there, Paul Passy was there, Otto Jespersen was also there. So the B here, right answer. Henry Sweet, Wilhelm Vater, Paul Passy, Otto Jespersen. So they are all. Next question. In which of the figure of speech the sense is conveyed by the sound of words? The sense is conveyed by the sound of words. Metonymy, alliteration, no. Synecdoche, onomatopoeia. So it is synecdoche. It is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia, that is, the sense is conveyed by the sound of words. In Shakespeare's Macbeth, who was untimely ripped from his mother's womb, that is the Caesarean baby. Macbeth, Macduff, Duncan, Malcolm. So it is Macduff was the Caesarean baby, the untimely ripped from his mother's womb. So 2 is the right answer here. In which poem by Seamus Heaney nationalism and violence overlap? Nationalism and violence overlap in the historical context of the Northern Ireland troubles. Of the Northern Ireland troubles, Parsana, punishment, death of a naturalist, requiem for the Croppies. So here punishment is the right answer. Now look at this explanation that the themes of punishment include defense and violence, with the overall theme content in the poem's one-word title, that is punishment, defense and violence. Is a poem from Heaney's highly regarded North, a collection published in 1996 that thematically focused on how Northern European history informs the Irish experience. Punishment has often been described as the central point, the climax of the Bach poems, as the Winterbury Girls is a metaphor for violent. Punishment explores the natural violence and revenge with society, and was published in the book in the North 1975. And this poem also follows two time scales: the Iron Age and the discovery of a body of women preserved in a book, and the Northern Ireland troubles. Okay, the one is the Iron Age and the discovery of a body of women preserved in a book, and the other is the Northern Ireland troubles. Okay. Next question: the sons of Belial flown with insolence and wine. Sons of Belial flown with insolence and wine, that is being referred to whom by Milton? That is sons of court writers of restoration, French army writers of restoration is Rush writers of Elizabethan age. So here court writers of restoration is mentioned here. That sons of Belial and flown with insolence and wine is being referred to whom by Milton? It is court writers of restorations. Next question: John Milton, look at that. John Milton accused the Anglican clergy, the Cavalier poets, and the opponents of the Commonwealth in his work Paradise Lost of being sons of Belial flown with insolence and wine. Next question: Who wrote Remember the House? Remember the House. Santa Ram Rao, Manohar Malgunakar, Vijay Tendulkar, R.K. Naran. Here, Santa Ram Rao has written, that is Remember the House. Next question: Which of the women writers given below is from Romantic movement? Mary Edgeworth, Barney, Jane Porter, Susan Ferris. So here, which of the women writers given below is from Romantic movement? Here is Mary Edgeworth. Now, what state approaches are criticized in Charles Dickens's Little Doriad? Charles Dickens's Little Doriad में कौन सा state approaches are being criticized? Church, society, government. Church तो नहीं है, society and government. So here D is the answer, both B and C. Okay. Look at this. Little Dorrit is a novel by Charles Dickens, originally published in serial. The story features Amy Dorrit, youngest child of her family, born and raised in Marsalsa prison for debtors in London. The novel satirizes some shortcomings of both government and society. Both government and society includes the institution of debtors prison, where debtors were imprisoned, unable to work, and yet incarcerated until they had repaid their debts. Dickens is also critical of the important bureaucracy of the British government in this novel in the form of the fictional circumlocution office. Dickens also criticizes the stratification of society that results from the British class system. So here society and society is criticized here, as well as the government. Okay, government. Poe's Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven mourns the death of Poe's lost Lenore, lost Abigail, paid animal, lost heritage. So here Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven mourns the death of Poe's lost Lenore. So one is the right answer. Next question: The Raven is a narrative poem. Now look at this here. American writer Edgar Allan Poe, first published in 1845. The poem is often noted for its musicality, stylish language, and supernatural atmosphere. It tells our distraught lover who is paid a mysterious visit by talking raven. The lover, often identified as a student, is lamenting the loss of his love, Lenore. Okay. So here the raven seems to further antagonize the protagonist with its constant repetition of the word nevermore. The nevermore. The poem makes use of folk, mythological, religious, and classical references. Next question: Alexander Pope wrote a moral epistles as a revenge upon his critics for criticizing his dash work, Tanseed, Messiah, Windsor Forest, above the law. So Alexander Pope wrote moral epistles as a revenge upon his critics for criticizing his work, that is the Dunciad. Next question: Hardy added a subtitle to his novels Taste of the Dear So what was the subtitle of Taste of Dear A pure woman playing of fate, tragedy of innocence, made tragedy. So it is a pure woman. A pure woman was the subtitle of Hardy's novel, that is Taste of Dear What is the name of the protagonist in Maheshwara Devi's Rudali? Is a who is doubly marginalized as a woman, as an entity of low caste. Sila, Suleka, Sanchari, Sama. So it was Sanchari. So Sanchari was the protagonist who is being marginalized doubly as a woman and as well as an entity of low caste. In the story of Rudali, Sanchari is a Ganju woman living in a village and called Tahad in Chotanagpur. She lived in in utter poverty, like all the other villagers. Her mother-in-law blamed her for her misfortunes. She believed that Sanchari was destined to suffer as she was born on some inauspicious Saturday. Next question: Who wrote the hilarious novel called Hotel Rivera? Hotel Rivera. Hotel Rivera is based on for his creation of the common man, the cartoon character, the common man, Sudhirdhar, R.K. Narayan, R.K. Laxman. So it is R.K. Laxman. R.K. Laxman is based on for his creation the common man, the cartoon character, and he has written the novel called Hotel Rivera. Okay. The book Ormlam comprised 40 gospels translated and paraphrased by the monk. Who was that monk? Augustine, Cynewulf, John, Home. So it was Home himself. Who is the heroine in Shakespeare's Tempest? It is the Miranda. So it is the swan song because it is the last work of Shakespeare. That's why it is called swan song. Three of the following writers were banished from their countries for what they wrote. Ovid was banished, Aristotle was banished, but who is the exception? Who is the exception? Plato, Euripides. Was also banished. So Plato was not banished. So Plato is the odd option here, the exceptional case. Which tragedy by Shakespeare features a storm of dramatic significances and emotional catharsis with the following dialogue? This is the emotional catharsis. Okay, the realization came. I am a man more sinned against than sinning. Okay, Macbeth, no. Hamlet, no. Julius Caesar, no. So it is King Lear. King Lear's realization came. Okay, and he says that I am a man more sinned against than sinning. Who is the author of The Sword and the Sickle? The Sword and the Sickle, the village across the black waters. So the sword and the sickle, the village across the black waters were written by Mcqseries Anand. Mcqseries Anand wrote Sword and the Sickle. And the Sword and the Sickle, its title was given to him by George Orwell. George Orwell gave this title to Mcqseries Anand. And Across the Black Waters was the only Indian novel that has the setting of World War One, during the World War One. And these are the trilogies. Okay, the Sword and the Sickle. Look at here, that the trilogy, the village across the black waters. These are trilogy. Okay, and the trilogy consists of three novels here: the village across the black waters, the Sword and the Sickle. The Sword and the Sickle, the title was given to him by George Orwell. George Orwell, and Across the Blackwater has the setting of World War One, the only Indian novel that has the setting of World War One. Okay, and Across the Blackwaters, look at here. That is the German in France as a sepoy. That is the story of Lalu. First published 1913. In describes the experience of Lalu, a sepoy in the Indian Army fighting on behalf of Britain against the Germans in France during the World War One. And the book is part of trilogy, that is the Village, Sword and the Sickle, and that chronicles the Lalu here. Now, who was it that called the 18th century the age of prose and reason? Who was it that called the 18th century as the age of prose and reason? So it was Matthew Arnold is the right answer here. Next question: which among the following poems by Alfred Lord Tennyson delves about death? So this is the Crossing the Bar. Crossing the Bars deals with about death. Okay, now Crossing the Bar means here is a look at here that 1889 poem. He considered that Tennyson wrote an elegy. In elegy, the narrator uses an extended metaphor to compare death with crossing the sandbar between the river of life with its outgoing flood and the ocean that lies beyond death, boundless deep, to which he returned. The term nucleatics was for the first time used by I.A. Richards. So I.A. Richards for the first time has used by the term nucleatics. The nucleatics was for the first time used by I.A. Richards. Next question. It was said that a new person had appeared on seafront, a lady with a little dog. These are the opening lines of Anton Chekhov's short story, that is the lady with the dog. What does the dog stands for? Innocence, aristocratic wealth, and as loneliness, and as loyalty for her husband. So it is the innocence. Sorry, innocence is the right answer here. Who is the author of the Time Machine? H.G. Wells, Joseph Conrad, Samuel Butler, none of these. So here H.G. Wells wrote the Time Machine. A cynic man who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. Who wrote this? Oscar Wilde, H.G. Wells. So here Oscar Wilde wrote this. So here is the right answer. A cynic man who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. Here Fancy, you have to match it. Fancy Day, Grace Melberry, Alfred Swancourt, Thompson Eobright. So here look at here that Fancy Day appears in the novel under the greenwood tree. So, and this title has been taken from Shakespeare's As You Like It. As You Like It. Try to remember all these aspects in your mind, that the title of this novel, that is Under the Greenwood Tree, has been taken from As You Like It. And Fancy Day is the teacher, the new teacher of that village. Okay, so Under the Greenwood Tree. Now you have Thompson Eobright, that is the Return of the Native. And you have that is a pair of blue eyes is Alfred Swancourt, and the Grace Melberry is the character from the Woodlanders. Okay, so A4B1, that is A4 1 here. So D is the right answer here. A4B1 C2 D3. Okay, Under the Greenwood Tree, that is the Fancy Day, the new teacher at the village school, and it was originally called as the Mailstock Square, but after that the name has been changed and the title has been taken from Shakespeare's As You Like It. The Return of the Native, Thomas Hardy's sixth published novel. It starts with at the Igdon Heath. Here Thompson Eobright, who is that is Climb's cousin, and Mrs. Eobright's niece, a young girl of gentle ways and conventional expectation. The narrative begins on the evening of Guy Fawkes' night as a Diggory van is slowly crossing the heath. It is Egdon Heath. And A Pair of Blue Eyes is a novel by Thomas Hardy, published in 1973, where Alfred Swancourt, the heroine, is both extremely attractive and emotionally a Victorian Miranda. This is compared. Okay, well, Lungi Ferrando, six characters in charge of an author, opens with the audience and find the producer attempting us to stage play. What is the title of the play? Right? It's a performance. No. Tonight we stage a play. Modes of acting. So it is rules of the game. It was rules of the game. Play within a play. Who wrote the poem She Walks in Beauty, which is a lyric poem in a iambic tetrameter? She Walks in Beauty is a lyric poem. It's a lyric poem in iambic tetrameter. Shelley, Coleridge, Keats. So it is Lord Byron. Lord Byron wrote. Next question. In the Mad Women in the Attic, Sandra Gilbert and Susan Goober argued that all women texts are palimpsests. They make secret subtext of dash politics and meaning, desire, discourse, identity, none of the above. So it is desire. So desire. So here the Mad Woman in the Attic. This title has been taken from that is Jane Eyre. It is from Jane Eyre. The novel Jane Eyre's. The title has been taken from Jane Eyre's. Children Bounties Jane Eyre. Okay, The Mad in the Attic, The Women Writer and the 19th Century Literary Imagination is a 1917 book by Sandra Gilbert and Susan Goober, in which they examine Victorian literature from a feminist perspective. Gilbert and Goober wrote the title from Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, in which Rochester's wife, that is Bertha Mason, is kept secretly locked in an attic apartment by her husband. Next question, Fielding's Joseph Andrews. Fielding's Joseph Andrews is parodying which novel? Swift's Gulliver Tubbs, no. Hardy's Taste, no. Richardson's Pamela, none of the above. So it was Ratchet Richardson's Samuel Richardson Pamela is being parodized by Fielding in his novel Joseph Andrews. Next question, Tillstone is being parodized by Fielding in his novel Joseph Andrews. Next question, Tillstones, describing Pope's use of poetic form, writes that the Pope uses dash 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 as if they were stanzas, self-contained. What does they refer to? As if they are stanzas, self-contained. Pope's poetry, no. Pope's satire, no. Pope's heroic couplets, yeah. So he is talking about Pope's heroic couplet. Next question, which among the following anti-slavery novels employs magic realism as a narrative tool? So here, Beloved is the novel where we will get it is an anti-slavery novel, plus it has elements of magic realism. It was written by Toni Morrison. Okay, let's wind up the session with this question. Last question here. In Afra Ben's Oronoku, how does the titular character die? He disembowels himself, he is whipped to death, he is changed in the public square, he is cut to pieces slowly by the executioner. So it was he's cut to pieces slowly by the executioner. So here D is the right answer here. And Oronoku's subtitle is The Royal Slave. The Royal Slave. Oronoku, by Afra Benz, it is the Royal Slave. It's subtitle. Now let's look at this explanation. Oronoku, the Royal Slave, written by Afra Ben. Oronoku is the Prince of Carmarthen who is sold into slavery, and his name was Caesar. Caesar was the English name that Oronoku is given after he is sold into slavery. So these were 50 questions I have discussed. Stay tuned with Sahus Tutorial and do not forget to subscribe my channel Sahus Tutorial. Thank you once again for watching this video.